This year at GenCon, I bought 9 small games in 9 small boxes. Here are 9 small reviews.
Rosetta is a reprint of a game from a few years ago that I've been wanting to get my hands on for a while. I love language creation games. If you've seen my Hidden Gems video on Gibberers, you would know that I have a real affinity for that kind of language creation as a group. And this one scratches a somewhat similar itch to that. This one is not a verbal language, and it expands a lot less. This is a pictographic language. In this game, one person is the author, and they are the one who decides what every word in the language is. They're going to start with one picture of a location and one inscription, which is going to be a collection of little glyphs, little fragments, that will together make up some word. That word is going to be something somewhat related to the picture, but not depicted inside it. So in this picture that has clouds and fire, I decided that thunderstorm would be a good one, because maybe they could take the little bits of that and figure out eventually, with a couple steps removed, that this might involve some kind of thing that involves clouds or weather or water in some way, and heat or light. This is a cooperative game, so the author is hoping that the guessers, or the experts they're called in this game, are going to be able to eventually get that word. They have 10 rounds in which to ask for the translation of some word in the people's natural language, so English for me. They'll write down a word on a card, and then the author is going to write down the inscription for that word. Hopefully, they'll be able to take bits and pieces of that and eventually build it up or break it down to be able to figure out what the original word means. This involves a lot of creativity on both parts. The author is really making most of this up on the fly. You can use the campaign book, which offers some example sets that will give you translations for some potential fragments, but they could ask you anything at all. And you're going to have to decide what to create new, what to kind of remix and match, and hope that they're going to be able to build up what those constituent parts might be. I prefer playing without using the campaign book and getting it all just made up from my head, but that is definitely a challenge. There are a couple more ways to get hints, but most of it is the experts ask for the translation and the author writes a translation. If after 10 guesses, the experts will ever come up with that original word, then everyone wins, and if not, it's a loss. But either way, it is a really fun exercise to be able to build this up, and it is really rewarding to see people get to that original meaning. This is going to be extraordinarily group dependent. My family has had a great time with it, but I can't imagine playing it with certain other groups of people. I think it is sometimes just kind of so abstract and ill-defined. It could be frustrating. Some people might find it impossible to move ahead. It's just generally going to be something that some people, like myself, will absolutely love, and some people would never, ever want to play. But if you are anything like me and want a cool language building experience that is cooperative and creative, I really think you should give this a shot. Jibber Jabble is a party game, a word guessing game, clue giving game, cooperative, where the real gimmick is that you are spelling out the clues that you're giving, but it's not one person spelling it, it is the group collectively spelling it, one letter at a time, each person spelling one of those letters.
B-U-L-L-S-E-Y-E. Stop.
There's one guesser for each word. Someone's going to pick which word they're giving the clue for, and then one at a time spelling out a letter that is going to be hopefully giving a good clue for that word. But since that's all the communication there is, there's no great way to know what word are you necessarily going for. So it may be very obvious to one person that you're spelling something, but the next person or a couple people down may have no idea what you're going for. Or they may just have a completely different thought, start spelling some other different word that you weren't expecting. For such a simple premise, I was really shocked how well this works.
Porta?
It was Poora.
Pura. Oh. A. A.
A.
A. A. C.
C.
C. T.
Stop. A.
It is much harder for a group to be really on the same page and thinking of the same clues as each other. I thought that this was going to be kind of, yeah, sure, a little fun diversion, but this is actually really got something going on here. The level of confusion, the level of flexibility, the level of kind of figuring out where you want to go and who knows what's going on, it works so much better than I thought it would. I thought this would be, yeah, this is a nice little fun thing. But especially for how easy it is to teach and how quickly it goes, there's enough going on there to put this above a lot of other party games of its style. For a little extra variety, there are also the hint cards that will give some little extra help to the clue givers of either skipping turns or some other little hints or helps along the way to hopefully give a better shot at getting this guessed. This is something that's very component light, so you can play this almost anywhere. We've played this at meal times a number of times. This can be played in the car with the driver as the guesser every time. It is, super portable, super engaging for how simple it is. I've not tried this with a group bigger than 4 people yet, but I would love to see how this plays in a bigger family setting or something similar, because I think this really has legs. I'm going to go for Target.
Yay!
Silver Mine is a roll and move race game with strong catch-up mechanics. The closest one to the finish line is going to roll 1 dice, second place rolls 2 dice, and so on. The catch? You want to be the last one in the mine. When it's your turn, you can pay points, silver, in order to roll fewer dice. Alternatively, other people can offer you money in order to roll more dice. Your goal is to be the final one to cross the line. The first one in pays 1, the second one in pays 2, and so on. If you're playing with 6 players, the 5th one is going to pay 5, and the 6th one in pays nothing, but collects all the money that anyone spent all round. Due to the roll and move nature, it's using slightly modified d6s that replace the 6 with a 0. It is very random, but there's still some strategy to it, and still lots of plenty exciting moments. It's not a deep game, but it is more interesting than you might think. Lots to consider with how much do you want to spend, how much do you want to hold back. Another very odd point to this game, when you start the round, you can place your pawn anywhere at all between the furthest back point and the finish line. You could choose to basically give up the race, just be the first one in, and pay only a little bit, completely giving up on the opportunity to win. The stakes escalate every round. The second round, all costs are doubled. The third round, all tripled, and so on. The game ends either after 5 races or, more likely, when one person has completely run out of money. In all my plays, it's only gone 3 races each time. So, light, pretty random, but not completely out of your control, and very interactive and a lot of fun. Orapa Mine, which I definitely thought was Drop-a Mine when I bought it, is a really cool little deduction game for 2 players. I've heard it described as gamer battleship, and I agree. Every person is going to set up their 5 colored mirrors here, or gems they're called, on this grid. To take your turn, you're going to fire a laser from one of the sides on your opponent's grid, which you can't see. So if your laser hits a red and a blue gem, it's going to come out purple. Not following the physics of light, but don't worry about it. There's a little reference of what colors add up to what. It's like pigments of color. It's fine. Is going to leave at a certain place at a certain color. So you're trying to figure out where those gems are in your opponent's grid. You're going to take some notes, make some guesses, and figure out over time with some deduction where they all are. There are the mirrors of the 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue. There are white mirrors, which will deflect the light and lighten it up a bit. There are 2 of them, which adds to some of the difficulty of figuring out what shapes are where. If a light just doesn't touch anything, goes straight to the other side and stays colorless. So there is a difference between white and colorless. Once you think you know exactly where all of your opponent's gems are, you can decide to make a guess, and that will determine whether you win or lose right there. That will end the game either in your favor or in theirs, depending on if you're right or wrong. Once you've played a bit, you can add a little bit more interesting play by adding the black or transparent gems as well. The black gems do not reflect light, but instead they just absorb it. So if they launch a beam that would hit that, even after bouncing off other stuff, you would just say the beam is absorbed. And if they put the transparent one on, if the beam hits the transparent one, it bounces without changing the color. So that can make it a lot trickier to find where everything is. This is a low interaction deduction game, similar to a different Playte game I tried out last year, Digit Code. It's really more about just the timing of how long does it take you to get theirs. It is still fun to trace the routes that the different beams are going on, but it's not anything that's interactive. It's a fun puzzle. It's some fun deduction. I really enjoy it, but it is certainly more on the puzzle than game side for me. So if this kind of deduction sounds appealing, then you will like it. I loved the concept. Right when I heard it, I was sold on it. I would have liked something a bit more interactive just for my tastes, but for the kind of deduction puzzle it is, I think it does exactly what it wants to do, and it does it well. Le Chocolat is a very quick 2-player game that iterates on the I cut you choose type of mechanic, which I have not played a ton of games in. I do enjoy it here. There is a big chocolate bar in front of you with some mystery parts there. Some of them are blank on both sides. Some of them are going to have a filling or a topping on one of the sides. They'll all score a little bit differently based on the game. They'll either give you straight plus or minus points per piece, or for whoever has the most of a certain type. That'll be public knowledge before you start playing. When it is your turn, you're going to make some break in one of the chunks of chocolate in front of you, and if that leaves a chunk of 3 or fewer pieces, you'll take one of those chunks for yourself. You'll get to look at whatever face-down bits you've taken, but otherwise, it is a mystery. You just keep breaking apart the chocolate bar until all the pieces are claimed, and then you'll do the quick scoring at the end. Whoever has gotten the most points wins. Very simple, very straightforward. I do enjoy the game. It doesn't have the really big moments that I really prefer in a game, but it is fun. For how quick it is and how easy it is to jump into, it's a nice little thing to just kind of insert in the middle or end of a larger 2-player gaming session. It's nicely produced for something so small and quick. Allplay was selling this for $9, and for that price, couldn't go wrong here. This is not something that I think is an essential that everyone's got to give it a try, but it's a nice, quick little way to enjoy 10 minutes. Fiction Banned Books is the sequel to Fiction. The gameplay is pretty much identical to the first game. In case you're not familiar with that, you are basically playing a game of Wordle, except the person who knows what the word is going to lie about what they tell you about one of the words. The librarian is going to pick a 5-letter word from their card that has an excerpt from some classic piece of literature. In this particular game, all those pieces of literature are books that were banned or controversial in their time. They're going to set up their 5-letter word, and the guesser is going to make a 5-letter guess. And they're going to learn Mastermind style, or more accurately, Wordle style, which letters are in the correct place, which letters are in the word but in the incorrect place, and which letters are not there at all. This will go on for 10 rounds or until the guesser has found it. The big difference in banned books is the addition of some ability cards. There is one little deck of cards for the guesser and one for the librarian. The cards they pick are going to give them some ability they can use some number of times per game. The guesser is going to have an alternate use of their fact fiction token. In the standard game, and also in this one, the fact-fiction token is used in order to learn whether a particular truth marker that was given to them is accurate or not. You can still do that in banned books, but also you'll have some other alternate use for them, such as spending a token to learn about a letter that they've never asked about before. Similarly, the librarian is given some extra ways to lie, essentially. They can use them some number of times a game, but don't have to say when they're using them. The nature of the lie will be public, but the timing of it will not be. So in this particular case, the librarian can lie about extra vowels at one point during the game. They'll mark it on their own reference sheet, but that will not be known to the guesser. The little pamphlet of information about all these banned books is pretty interesting. It's completely irrelevant to gameplay, but a nice little historical reference, and sadly not all of it very historical, some of it in the last couple years. Otherwise, the gameplay change of the ability cards I found pretty unnecessary. There's already so much to consider in this game, and I don't know that the extra cards add a whole lot. I think if there are some people that have played the basic game so much that it's not a challenge for them anymore, this could breathe a little extra life into it. And if you've somehow gone through so many of the cards in the original game that the words that they give you are going to be predictable, then yes, that would be a problem. You can also just buy this as its own standalone game. It is not an expansion. It has all the same components as base fiction, just a little bit more. So if you don't already own fiction, this one is going to be strictly giving you more options. So if you like this set of books better than what's in the original, or if you want that little extra chance of extra variety and challenge, you can go for it. I think it's kind of inessential, but nice. Stereo Mind is a party game with a very simple premise. You're going to hear a short audio clip of some generic music, and you are going to identify which word or picture it reminds you most of. Everyone is going to be simultaneously choosing whether 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 is the best fit for what they've heard. If everybody matches, then you've scored the point. This sounds so simple, and those are basically all the rules. I've left out only a tiny bit. But if you think that is simple, just try playing it. There is not necessarily going to be a good match between what you hear and what the options are.
It's the Eiffel Tower!
No,
Yes, it's the Eiffel Tower!
It's nosing through the
Yeah, that was the second guess, but it's definitely Eiffel Tower. Autumn, you are right.
No, yeah, because it sounds like it gives off city vibes, and the Eiffel Tower is the only one.
Mosey through the desert.
Mosey through the city.
Walking through Paris.
They're not matched up in any way. They're completely random. This is a game of making associations that aren't there and just trying to pick based on pure vibes. Sometimes it works out great, and sometimes it just seems like complete nonsense. We've already house ruled this game because it's so difficult that if all but one player match, that's going to count as a point. And we've had to do that to even score half of the time, getting it to count as a point. When I was first checking this out, I thought, oh, this is going to be a match every time. It's not going to be a challenge at all. But it's been the opposite. Most of the times out of all 7 rounds, we've only gotten 2 or 3 right. Once we got 4 right, and that is with that house rule. Without that, I don't think we would ever gotten more than half of them matched. It's a really basic concept. It's a nice little production. I like putting the phone into the little stereo case. It's a nice little gimmick. It's a great way to get people talking. It's a great way to ask, why would you ever think that? And to make connections that aren't there. Bubble and Shadow is a sort of trading game, nominally based on the novel The Moon and Sixpence. Now, I haven't read that, but it seems quite a bit different. That book is about a normal working man who decides to drop their entire life and go down to Tahiti and become an artist. This game is about a magician making pacts with mortals about the content of their soul, so I'm not really sure how that worked out. As far as the gameplay goes, there are 3 types of tokens: bubbles, coins, and moons. Bubbles and moons represent the dark and light parts of your soul, and the coins represent coins. On your turn, you're going to give a card to another person, and that card has two sides to it, which have some combination of those resources on it. The person who receives it is going to choose which side they are going to give to the other person. Both are going to trade away the resources that are on the part of the card that's facing them. The person receiving the card can only choose a side that they can fully give. So if they're given a card where only one of the sides is a set of resources they can fully give, they must choose that side. The three types of resources are valued quite a bit differently. At the end of the round, after a certain number of packs have been given to everyone else, then you score like this. Whoever has the most bubbles, the bad stuff, the purple stuff here, whoever has the most does not get any points this round. Making this more interesting, if anyone has been super greedy and has taken more than 6 coins, those extra coins will count as bubbles for the purpose of counting who has the most. They do still count as coins as well. Next, whoever has the least coins only gets 1 soul token, 1 point. Out of the remaining people, if anyone has more moons than you, the gold ones, then you get 2 soul tokens, and whoever has the most moons gets 3. So, you're trying to balance in an interesting way here, especially with the silver. You want to not have the least, but if you have too much, then you're likely to not get anything at all. Moons are always good, so you definitely want those. When you make a deal with another person, the traded resources for both sides will be in front of your shield. They all start behind it. So more and more information gets revealed throughout the duration of the round. At first, you're making kind of random guesses and hoping that whoever you make the deal with, it'll work out roughly enough in your favor. But as turns go on and you see what people can and can't afford, and you see what's in front of their shield, you can make some informed decisions about what to give them. You can also optionally play with some of these special resource tokens, which sort of act like one of the 3 basic types, but with a few different changes. The apple, for instance, counts as a moon during the normal deal-making part of the game, but as a bubble during scoring. Or the snake. When you have at least 1 snake, you'll pick a resource that you have at least 5 of and discard 5 of that. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what you've got. Or the chess piece, which can flip itself over every time that it is traded. But even just the base game, with figuring out the right way to do trades and who to choose each time, offers a lot to think about. In some cases, it can be too much to think about. I played this game twice, once with a game designer group, and once with just my family. The game designer group, we took over a half hour to play a single round because some certain people were taking a long time to figure out exactly the right kind of thing to give and to weigh a lot of different options. In my family group, we played the entire game within a half hour. So definitely different experiences there. I don't think there's enough in this to sustain playing a half hour plus per round, but as I played at a pretty normal pace, a little brisker one, it was pretty fun. We enjoyed figuring out the right ways to give deals, what people could and couldn't give, trying to figure out ways to target people who seem like they're doing well, given the packed choices that you have. Yeah, we enjoyed this quite a bit. I think that people found this more interesting than, uproarious fun, but it definitely did keep people's interest, and people did enjoy it. It's the one of these games I've played the least, but I am looking forward to playing more of it. Spell is a 2-player wizard duel where the players are casting spells by creating patterns of their tiles on the shared grid. You are going to be able to flip over tiles, you're going to be able to move tiles around, and you're going to be able to move your own mage around. And wherever your mage is, that counts as an activated tile of your type. Whenever you're able to make the pattern seen on one of the available rune cards, you claim points for it and have a spell available for you to use in some future turn. That all sounds pretty straightforward, and even when you hear the fuller rules, it still doesn't seem so wild. You have 2 actions that you will use on your turn. You have the mage action, which either lets you activate one of your tiles that borders your mage, or move your mage to any surrounding tile. The other move is a bit wilder. It's the upheaval. You're going to take any empty tile and put it into the empty space on your 4x4 grid. Then, from that newly emptied space, you're going to slide all the tiles from one of the directions to where that newly emptied space is. That makes some really unpredictable moves. I find it extremely hard to look ahead from the upheaval action, and it's not something that you can just always really undo on your turn if your opponent has messed you up. And that messing up other people part is a big part of why this is the most polarizing of all the games I got at GenCon. This game has very difficult look ahead, and it also kind of snowballs in an odd way. The first player to make a rune happen is going to have a new spell at their disposal to use either that turn or some future turn. They're only one-time use, but the way that one opens up the opportunity to get the next rune up is going to make this so that the first person to make something happen is going to have it much easier to make other things happen. If you can't do something on your turn because it has just been messed with you, or you just did some not so great plays on early turns, you're not going to have a great chance to recover. The game only lasts a maximum of 6 rounds, and the first 2 of those rounds you cannot cast a spell. You just do not have enough actions yet to have enough active tiles for that. So there's really only 4 turns that you're going to get a chance to make anything happen. Despite that short gameplay, this has been one of the very few games that I've had multiple people stop the game early because they just see no way to advance, no way to progress. It can be really frustrating. This is a game that can make you feel really clever if you're able to chain things in such a way that you're making multiple runes happen and you're really making the board state just what you want. But if you are not feeling clever, you're feeling helpless. You're feeling like an idiot. You're feeling really demoralized. I thought this was going to be a more straightforward game, but there's a lot to think about. At the same time, it's very hard to predict and look ahead. Some people I've played this are never going to play it again, and I've recognized that this is going to be a game that really rewards playing a lot and really developing a good sense of how to play well. And if you're not playing well, or the players are really mismatched, it's going to be a really unsatisfying game. There are some more advanced modes that I've barely touched. There is an advanced set of rune tiles that makes even more difficult patterns to make. They use the same number of tiles, but the way that those patterns are, they're less straightforward to create. There's also some asymmetric powers that I've not tried yet. 2 of the asymmetric powers will make it easier to make new rune patterns, and 2 of them seem like they'll mostly make it harder for your opponent. It's already pretty easy to mess with your opponent in this game, and so I'm not really itching to play with those powers. There's a lot I like about this game, but this is not something that's easy for me to get to the table. I do love the visuals of this game for sure, and those have been a consistent hit. The kind of 2-tone production, some really nice illustrations there considering how few components there are, and the iconography is clear. It's just that aspect of the difficulty of playing well in such a small, tight space that leaves very little room for error that's been really making it hard to get this to the table a lot.
Thanks for visiting my stock photo of a den. See you again soon.